Today we sit down with the living legend, Elizabeth Gardner. You guys know her and love her, an amazing, fantastic meteorologist right here in the Triangle. And we talk about the drought that is affecting all of North Carolina. I think of meteorology as a recipe, and we are going to see what ingredients we have that got us into this drought and what can get us out. Here's that conversation. Hey guys, everybody, you guys know her, you guys love her, Elizabeth Gardner, just an amazing meteorologist. I love all you guys. You guys are amazing at what you do every single day. And we are talking today about the drought. And me and you were talking yesterday, and your DMs are flooded, your phone calls are flooded, your text messages are flooded. When are we going to get rain? When are we going to get rain? Oh, my gosh.
Jaylin, always love talking to you as well. And, we talked a lot when it snowed, you know, what's going to happen with the snow. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, people are so interested in this. Everywhere I go, people who recognize me say, when is it going to rain? When is it going to rain? I feel like that's all anybody's talking about. I mean, it's rough. We're under severe and extreme drought in our area. And it's the time of year when people are wanting to plant. My almost next door neighbor, she lives 2 doors down from me. I spent the weekend with her a few weekends ago, and I think every 10 minutes, when is it going to rain?
Okay.
When is it gonna rain? We really need rain. We really need rain. You know, she's hoping, to put her garden in.
Hello, how are you?
No,
just when is it going to rain?
When is it going to rain? And people sometimes will actually glare at me, like, we really need the rain. Looking at me like I'm gatekeeping the rain from everybody. I'm like, what? But it's a tough time to be in a drought. Mm-hmm. Because April is the time when people usually plant. I was in my yard doing a little bit of work. Strawberries, my favorite. I have my favorite strawberry stand that I go to every year.
Love it.
And I was talking to them, and they're like, "We're okay," but the strawberries are kind of coming in under the wire, and everything that comes, down the road. I mean, farmers are really concerned about it. Mm-hmm. We tend to see our wettest time of year in the winter. And what happens in the winter is we see those days that nobody likes where it's gray and it rains all day and everybody's kind of grumpy and it's 40 degrees. But we see a bunch of those in the winter, and that fills up the reservoirs, it fills up the groundwater, and it gets us all primed for our summer pattern. And our summer pattern is just those thunderstorms that pop up. And you might get an inch or two of rain with a thunderstorm, but it's one here, it's one over there, and it misses you, and then it's not widespread. It doesn't help us to get out of a drought.
Absolutely, and I actually talked about this with Liz McLaughlin, our climate change reporter as well. We let's say so much less snow in the winter as well. It hits the mountains. It doesn't melt in the summer and fill the lakes and the reservoirs as well. So we have a combination of a couple different things going on as well. Is that how we got into this drought?
So the reason that we're in this drought is that we got so far behind. And instead of the drought starting in the summer, which is much more typical, our weather is usually drier overall in the summer. This one started in the winter, and that really puts us in a tough situation. So we started seeing precipitation or rainfall below normal starting at the end of August, and then it was September and October and November and December. December, we started to catch up. Like, I think in December we were close to our normal rainfall, but we had already had several months behind. And then we got into January, February, March, April. Right now, we've seen, I think, 1/10 of an inch of rain in the month of April, and here we are at the 22nd of April. It does look like next week we might have a slightly better chance, but we are 15 inches behind. And if we're going to catch up and get out of the drought, we would need about 10 to 12 inches of rain in a month's time. And that's the only way you can see 10 to 12 inches of rain in a month's time is if you have a tropical system come through. And we all know what that means.
Yeah, we know what that means in hurricane season. You guys got to stay tuned to WRAL here because hurricane season is around the corner as well. Also, right now, currently, we're in tornado season. Am I correct?
Well, sort of. I mean,
sort of.
Well, we are, but we haven't had any thunderstorms because it's been so dry. You look at April, and so many of our historic tornado systems have happened in April, and here this April, we've got nothing because it just hasn't rained.
So talk about also. Let's talk a little bit about those storms as well, because I like to talk about meteorology as recipes and food and the ingredients. What ingredients are we missing right now for a thunderstorm?
So what happened over the winter to get us so dry and is continuing is two things. So the global pattern, we talk about El Nino and La Nina. So we had a La Nina over the winter. And what that means for us is it's usually drier and warmer than normal in the southeast.
Okay.
So that was our global pattern. A La Nina is when we have cooler than normal temperatures off the coast of Peru.
Okay.
And you think, well, that's a long way away.
That is a far way away.
But it's crazy because, I mean, a change in one part of the earth has ramifications everywhere. So if something's not normal in one place, it's kind of like, you know, if you go to the doctor, like your knee is bothering you, well, it's because your hip is tight. You know,
I get
right?
it. I get it.
It's the same way around the world. If something is off in one part of the world, it can affect the rest of the world as well. So anyway, so we're drier and warmer than normal in a La Nina. Then our surface pattern was a big ridge of high pressure, and it just set up and stayed there. And typically in the winter, we'll have a bunch of fronts coming through, and those fronts keep bringing rain and keep bringing rain. But a high pressure system is a blocking system. So all the fronts that tried to come down from Canada to bring us precipitation, the high pressure system said, oh, no, you're not. Nope, I got this.
I get it.
Here.
I see
You're
it.
not coming.
Uh-huh.
You can't come here.
Okay.
And so that's why the other reason that we stayed dry all winter. We still have a big ridge of high pressure. Now, we did have a little pocket of time there, you know, where we did have some fronts coming through December, you know, some in January because we had those snows, you know, that came through. We didn't see enough precipitation to catch up, but at least it was a little bit more active. And then starting in March and this month, that high really set up again. And it's just not letting anything through. So that's why we're not seeing any ingredients for thunderstorms.
We're missing those ingredients as well.
Sure.
So we talked a little bit about, so that 15 inches of rain is how we get out of this drought, correct?
Correct. So what we have to get out of this drought is we have to have widespread heavy rain consistently. That is not our summer pattern. It does not happen in the summer. It's extremely rare that we get a day like that. Now, if you remember last July, we had Chantal, and Chantal dumped 8 to 10 inches of rain in a little narrow band around Durham and Chapel Hill.
I remember that.
It's a tropical system.
Yes.
And it caused flooding and a lot of problems. But it would bring us out of the drought. So we could start seeing that, you know, as early as July. I mean, sometimes we see tropical systems in May even. So at some point during the summer, we might see a tropical system that gets us out of the drought. But of course, that means the potential for flooding, wind damage sometimes, isolated tornadoes. But that's our best bet because we're dry really through October and November unless we have a tropical system. By the time we get to, you know, parts of November into December, then we start to get back into that pattern where we have, you know, more consistent fronts coming through, and there's big systems that just kind of sit over us all day, and it rains and rains and rains. And that's what we didn't see last winter.
Man, so what you're telling me is, and what's new with this is Raleigh's having water restrictions because of this, and it's the first time in decades. With us being dry for the summer, with us being projected to be dry for the fall, possibly dry for the winter, this is going to be a long-term conversation.
It's going to be long-term. Now, you'll hear us talking probably in the next, you know, over the next several days into a week's, where we might get into a slightly wetter pattern toward the end of April, maybe beginning of May. But we need so much rain that even if this brief pattern sets up, it's not a pattern that's going to set up for months at a time. So we might get a few weeks, like, you know, we've got a chance for rain coming up this weekend, then next week, and then, you know, maybe another one after that. But the high is still there. So while we have fronts coming through, that high is still going to try to block them. So hoping the Climate Prediction Center puts out a forecast for what we might see over the next week, the next month, the next 3 months. And it's not specific, it's just trends. Are we warmer than normal? Are we wetter than normal? And they do have us in slightly wetter than normal for like the next month or so.
Fingers crossed.
But slightly is going to be great. It'll be helpful, but it's not going to get us out of the drought.
It's not going to get us because, again, we're talking about even if we get 2 or 3 inches from these systems, we're talking about 15 inches.
Exactly.
So 3 minus 15, 12 more inches to go. That's a lot of rain.
There are a lot of elements to a drought. So the soil is very, very dry right now, and that's why we've gone under these water restrictions. That's why we're seeing severe and extreme drought. But when you look at our reservoirs, they're actually looking pretty good. If you look at some of the pictures from 2007, which is when we had our last drought, boy, you look at Falls Lake, and just you can see the water just a little bit, down in the bottom. Yeah. It's okay right now. Jordan Lake is full right now. So we're looking okay that way. But what will happen is as we get through the summer, because we don't have a lot of chances to catch up in the summer, that's why the water restrictions are in place right now, because they want to go ahead and get a handle on it before we get into our typically dry summer.
And again, in the summer, you got to stay cool. People drink water. People fill up their swimming pools. People wash their cars. People have water gun fights, all the above. Water is going to be such a heavily used resource in the summer as well, just as always.
Yeah, and for people who have yards and gardens, you've got to keep those watered. And, as long as people are following the rules, we'll probably be okay. Even though we're under water restrictions in Raleigh now, you do have a window of opportunity to water. And as long as you stick to that and follow the rules, it should be enough to keep your yard and your garden going through the summer. And it's just, we can't just do whatever we want. No. We just have to follow the rules. But if we follow the rules, I think that we're, probably going to be okay.
There's going to be a little bit of a mess up in routines. You got to just be more mindful, run your sprinklers early in the morning, not in the afternoon or when you're awake and things like that. It's just those things. We got to take extra steps so we can all have water and all take care of each other as well. Elizabeth Gardner, is there anything else on this promotable? This promotable airs on Thursday, which will be April 23rd. More details, everything as well. I'll link that video to this. Anything else that we missed?
So I just want to sort of bring it right back around. So the thing is, it took us a long time to get into this drought. This has been building since August or September of last year, and we just hit extreme drought in parts of North Carolina a couple of weeks ago. So getting out of the drought will be just as hard, especially this time of year. We're getting ready to go into what's typically a dry summer for us, and to expect it to last for months. If we happen to get a tropical system sometime late summer or fall, that will help us out. But we aren't headed into a pattern that is likely to get us out of the drought.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Elizabeth Gardner, thank you so much. Where can people find you on the
Jaylin.
Socials? Where can people find you online?
Sure, I am on all the socials. My handle on Instagram is WRAL Weather Gal, and I think WRAL Elizabeth Gardner on Facebook, and what else? TikTok, I forget what it is.
It's okay. People Google Elizabeth Gardner. You guys are going to see. You guys are going to see. Also, when you guys follow her, this is an outdoors woman. She is going to be outdoors all the time, and we really appreciate it. Great follow as well. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thanks for chatting, Jaylin. Always.
No problem.